What's going on, everybody? All right, before I get into pulling here, I've been listing most of the day. I get the question a lot. How do I list so much during the day, or how do I list so much per day, and things like that? And then, like, I believe the other night on Tommy and Tracy's podcast thing, they were talking about how I have a different mentality when it comes to working. And so I kind of wanted just to try to explain my head, I guess, what motivates me and how do I just grind all day. Because either Tracy or Tommy said that they would burn out doing what I do. And so if I want to try to explain like how I think and how my mind works, and maybe something there can help motivate somebody out there if they want to work harder, work more, or what have you. But so for me, you have to go back to my childhood. So I'm going to try to explain the best I can and try to get it to come across. It was me, my sister, my mom, and my dad. And we lived in a 3-room apartment complex, and full of cockroaches. I mean, the house was just trash. The whole apartment building was just trashed. Rent was like $200 a month. My dad worked a factory job, and that's all he did. He'd work a job, go to the bar, come home, eat, watch TV, go to bed, repeat. And that was his day. He was very hands-off when it came to raising me and my sister. So that was his life. My mom was the stay-at-home mom. She sat literally at a kitchen table 99% of her life. And they both smoked heavily most of their life. Well, my mom all her life until she died from lung cancer. My dad, he smoked all the way up until he was COPD, since he was on, and then after that he was on oxygen 24/7 for the rest of his life. But so that was my where I came from. A mom who did nothing all day except raise kids, took care of the house. And my dad who had his routine he did every day. And my dad couldn't read or write, so my mom controlled all the finances. She would only give him like $20 out of his check every week for lunch or whatever at work. But they were always complaining they had no money, just miserable. And so that's what I grew up in. I also grew up hearing a lot that I would never amount to anything in life, from parents to teachers to counselors to people I worked for people I ran into, acquaintance, friends, not friends really, but acquaintance, I will just say, people who I hung out with at some points in life, So I heard from many, many different people over my young age that I would never amount to anything. I would be nothing more than what my parents are. And there was even a time where my mother said to me that I am the reason that we live in a 3-room shitty apartment, basically. Because I was born and kids are expensive. So all my life I've been just in that kind of a headspace, being beaten down, but I didn't let it bring me down. I used it as motivation to try to do something. I wanted 2 things in life. I wanted to be happy, and I wanted to get the hell out of the city. I did not want to live in a 3-room apartment, didn't want to live with cockroaches, didn't want to live with drive-by shootings. I wanted the hell out of the city. I didn't want to have to turn to drug dealing and stealing and whatever to get money. And whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to do something that made me happy. I didn't want to be stuck at a factory job like my father. I didn't want to be behind a desk in a cubicle. So thankfully, I always had kind of a creative mind. So I always had kind of a free thinking spirit. I am very thankful for that. So I always try to think outside the box and do things and what have you to come up with something. And I think the thing that showed me the most was two things in life. Was my mother, from the age about 10 to 12, when I was 10 to 12, we used to dumpster dive and find stuff to take to auction and make extra money. I saw, hey, there's something different, something you can do for fun and make money. And those 2 years that we did that literally was the first probably time in my life I got new clothes. I got a new coat. I got, all my life, up until probably about 14 or something, I always wore shoes that were too small. My toes were always poking through the shoe. So during those 2 years, we had extra money to buy clothes and better food and stuff. And I always saw that as an opportunity, like, wow, some things there is things that you can do to not be my mother and father, basically. Something more. And then seeing my older brother move out and go do his thing, and I saw things he would do where he would come up here and buy like wholesale stereo systems, car stereos, take them down to the little town he moved to. He would sell the car stereos, then he would charge the people to install them, and then he would charge them to wash their car. So he was doing all these other little odd jobs. He probably had like 7 jobs at one time where he was just had all this income coming in, and I'd see him with wads of cash, and everything he was doing was legal. He was managing an apartment, he was washing cars, he was selling car stereos, he was installing car stereos, he was working at the gas station while he was doing all those things. And then he was an ambulance driver at one time during that. So he had like 5, 6, 7 jobs. I think he ended up being the marshal of the town. So he had 7 jobs at one time with all this cash. I'm like, I don't have to be my dad. I don't have to be my mom who sits at a kitchen table being miserable and blaming others. And that's probably where I learned that's where I learned to take accountability for yourself. Never blame anything else for your situation. Always take accountability, because there's power in that. There's no power in excuses and blaming other things or other people. And so I've always made sure that I took accountability for myself. But the problem with growing up, even into my 20s, when I was working at a music store, I felt like such a loser because I could not do anything. I could not figure it out. I would try, I worked 2 and 3 jobs at one time, and I wasn't working at places making me happy except the music store. And, I tried tattooing. And so I tried a bunch of different things, and I just started feeling like my mindset at the time was just feeling like a loser. Kind of an idea, as I was dating this county girl who you could tell she was going to go on to big things. And actually, she ended up becoming a lawyer for the city, the police system in St. Louis. So I always knew she was going on to big things, but I always felt like I was never going to be good enough for her. So that insecurity, is what basically made me push her away. So I always had that insecurity and that loser feeling, like I'm never going to figure this out. I'm never going to be nothing but stuck in this freaking in a city apartment. I'm never going to get out. It's never going to happen. And it was very stressful. It was very, like I said, very depressing. I let it beat me down so bad that, I was an asshole. I was selfish. I was an asshole. at that time, because it was about me. I had a vision. I had a goal. I had no vision to get that goal. I wanted out, and I was going to do whatever it took by all means necessary to just pound my way out of my situations. So I was an asshole. I was mean to people, all kinds of stuff, just trying to figure life out. So I was in an ugly headspace. I was stressed out and all that. So when I finally did figure it out and started becoming successful selling on eBay and doing this, what keeps me motivated is that headspace. I know that feeling in my head of what it felt like to be such a freaking loser, to what it felt like to have your mom tell you it's your fault that we're living in this 3-room apartment. The disappointments. I know all those emotions and all those feelings. Well, I can harness those. So when I feel like I need extra motivation to work, I picture myself in that apartment. I picture myself standing there and going, what do I need to do to get the hell out of here? But the good thing is now I know what I need to do. All I got to do is list more. All I got to do is find more product. All I got to do is keep working. I know how to get the hell out of that situation. So I picture myself in those apartments without the stress and depression that I had at that time, and picture myself happy and motivated because I know what to do to get out of that situation. So as weird as it sounds that I'm standing at my computer in this house, I mentally picture myself standing in those apartments that I grew up in, trying to get out. Only now I know what I need to do to get out. So it motivates me to keep listening, keep going, keep pushing. Because back then I was so lost, not knowing which way to go, where to go, what to do. And it was so, like I said, stressful and depressing. But now when I picture myself back there again, I know what to do. I know how to get out of it. So I use that as my motivation. And I don't know if that sounds weird or whatever. That's just the way my head works, because I never want to go back to that. So picturing myself there in that time period, like I am 15 again and I have it figured out, even though I'm 50 and I've got it figured out. I picture myself at 15 and I've got it figured out. And it makes me feel young and like I know how to get through it. You know what I mean? Even though it's a little late and my parents are gone, it's still selfish motivation to make sure I never have to go there again. So I hope that makes sense. I'm one screwed up 50-year-old, ain't I? I don't know. I hope that makes sense. Hope it makes a little bit more sense to you. But let's finally get to pulling some orders. How about that? All right. So first up, we got some new arrivals. We got some Nike Kyrie Irvings sold for $48. Shoes have picked up here recently. We got this Metal Sludge patch and pin that sold for $10. We got this Tiger Tails Berserk Live 1990. I remember when I first started working in the music store, this is one of the first things I ordered for myself. Because I was a big fan of it. Still am a big fan of this band. This sold for $24. All right, we've got this St. Louis Cardinals Fox Sports Midwest hat that sold for $8. We got this Salt Life hat that sold for $9.50. And we also had this Bubba Gump shrimp hat that sold for $9.50. All right, Angie Martinez CD promo single sold for $5. It's pretty easy. All right. Dolan Ellis Tall Tales CD sold for $6. All right, we got this blank camouflage hat here that sold for $7. All Vintage St. Louis Steamers trucker hat sold for $25. All right, we got the light because I need a little Puff the Magic Dragon lives by the sea. Okay, so I gotta find that. It sold for $11. Puff the Magic Dragon lives by the sea. That's the only part of the song I know, sorry. Or I'd sing the whole thing to you. Where's he at? Where's he at? He's back here, ain't he? That's probably him. Nope, that ain't him. There he is. Puff the Magic Dragon and other songs. So sold for $11. All right, we got the Wisconsin Badgers hat sold for $9. Got a Kansas City hat sold for $7. And we've got this vintage made in USA blank hat sold for $8. All right, Elijah something or another. I Am cassette sold for $10. All right, Tiana B turquoise dress sold for $11. All right, this unknown CC logo hat sold for $9.50. All right, we got this multi-fire Scott Performance hat sold for $8.50 basically. And we got this unknown letter B logo hat sold for $8. What are you doing? What are you doing? What you sniffing me for? Oh, what you sniffing me for, baby boy? Oh, you got itchies. You got itchies. All right, I gotta find this CD right here. And this sold for $6. What? Just because I had to come down to your level don't mean I get to pat you, does it? I guess it does. All right, Tony Kanji Real Love CD sold for $7. And actually that one sold for $7 too. I was a little off. And $7 for that one. All right, we got this classical 2 CD set here, sold for $5.50. All right, another hat here. This one sold for $7. Got the St. Louis Blues women's jacket, sold for $10. You should be right here somewhere. There we are. All right. Am I the only one that... Hold on. Okay, after I beat the crap out of that one. Teach you. Don't mess with me. Am I the only one that watches train videos on YouTube? All right, steam locomotive cassette sound effect cassette sold for $7. All right, I got this women's Puma hat sold for $9.50. Sold another one of those 30 CD lots of those Hastings that I made up. So I made up 10. 6 have sold. I got 4 left. This one sold for $23. FB County hat sold for $5. All right, we got this St. Louis Cardinals World Champions 2011 t-shirt sold for $9.50. And we got St. Louis Rams sweatshirt, technically a new arrival, sold for $16.